way that we perceive these setbacks are stepping stones and learning curves, right? Not that I look forward to setbacks, but when they do occur to us, I'm not negative about it.
If you're finding value in what you're watching, consider hitting the subscribe button and turning on the bell notification. Oh, and don't forget to drop a comment. I love hearing your thoughts and ideas. By the way, we have got a ton of other videos waiting for you. And if you are ready to level up your mindset, come hang out with us in our private Facebook group called Mindset for Business Success. Today we have with us Roy Snarr. Roy has over a decade of experience in financial planning. He specializes in everything from retirement strategies, estate planning, to long-term care. Helps high net worth individuals and entrepreneurs find peace of mind about their finances. He appeared on national television and ranks top 1% of financial professionals in the U.S. Roy is also part of the pristine $1 Million Roundtable. So he's someone who knows what it takes to succeed at the highest level when it comes to financial stability. Welcome to our show, Roy.
Thank you, Chad. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, my friend. Great to have you here. I have such a deep understanding about the financial world, the financial strategies. How important do you think emotional intelligence is in making smart financial decisions overall, especially for entrepreneurs?
Especially for entrepreneurs, yes. I love emotional intelligence. In fact, I have a lot of my colleagues read Emotional IQ. It's a great book because the one thing that we have as entrepreneurs that no one can take away, but is constantly being beat down is our confidence. If you're out here as an entrepreneur, you're going to get objections, you're going to have failures, you're going to have setbacks, and your ability to persevere through that boils down to your emotional intelligence and how to handle certain situations in the right manner. And it took me a while to get a grasp on that because it's very easy to overreact or emotional in making a decision without looking at all of the facts. And one of the key tips I always have for the entrepreneurs out there is don't necessarily rush into a decision. You want to follow your intuition. It's generally right. But you want to break things down a little bit and not look at it from the emotional side.
Just zoom out a little bit.
Well, 100%. Yeah, because a lot of times, like you could have a setback, for example, and you're like, oh, this is not meant to be because of this setback. Maybe the setback is actually there to help you learn better, to persevere through the next bigger setback that will happen in the future, right? And so the way that we perceive these setbacks are stepping stones and learning curves, right? Not that I look forward to setbacks, but when they do occur to us, I'm not negative about it. In fact, I'm like, okay, great. This happened to us. And this is a good thing that has happened to us because we're at this level of success. It wouldn't have happened to us if we were, say, just starting. How do we overcome this to get to the next level? And that's how we look at everything. Instead of just getting sad or depressed or upset, it's just, okay, we can handle this. How do we overcome it? And I believe that boils down to the emotional intelligence.
Yeah, good point, Roy. And my late mentor, he was known to say this, is that look for good in everything. Initially, when I heard that, I was like, what is this guy talking about? Look for good in anything. There's problems everywhere, man. What's going on? So it was a different kind of mindset back then before my transformation. So just start small. And I tell this to people now, like when you wake up, as soon as you wake up, before you get the phone, just play a game. Say, you know what? Today I'm going to look for 20 things that are good in my life, right? So it could be as simple as getting out of the bed. Say, oh, cool, my knees work. And just count them down as on your phone or notepad. Just write them down. Actually write them down, what those good things are. And then that becomes a habit over time. So now, like you mentioned, even the downfalls, if you practice that and you look for the good in it, then you're looking for lessons. Like it is, and over time, as you practice, you start zooming out more and more, and you start realizing, wait a minute, in the grand scheme of things are pretty good, man, in my life. So if you keep that energy, you'll start producing better results.
Oh, 100%. And if you look at it too, the way that we view problems, me specifically, if I get upset about a situation, first of all, I ask, okay, what control do I have over this? Because I've had zero control over the outcome. Like if I get upset because taxes increase, like I could be upset about it, and I do get upset about that. There's nothing I can do. I mean,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not going to do anything. And so I look
yeah,
at, oh, can I actually do something to influence the outcome of this? And if I can't, then
yeah,
I ask myself, okay, if I fast forward 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, is this still going to be a problem? And most of the time, it's not. So I break
yeah.
these issues and challenges down to those mindsets. Can I control it? And then is this really going to be an issue in 3 weeks from now or a month from now? And
Yeah,
the answer is no,
that's
on both of them, I just
uh,
get over.
yeah, yeah, so true. You brought to memory this past guest I interviewed. It was so funny. He's like 100 plus net worth, 100 plus million. He's really successful in real estate and other things. And he was telling me that he purposely, and he has some businesses too. So he doesn't check his emails until 4 o'clock mark. So
Yeah.
I said, why? I said, why? He goes, everything's taken care of by that time. If I got involved right in the beginning in this email string, just he goes, some of these emails are like 30 emails in the row, right? Like responding to each other, multiple people. So by the time I get 4 o'clock comes around, they usually have it figured out. Like majority, 95%, he goes, majority is taken care of. Okay, that's great. And he goes, I tried that a few times and it actually works. I said, oh, that's pretty cool. I never gave it a shot, but it was a pretty cool concept that he shared.
No, that is, it's all about auditing your time too, because
Yeah.
email, like, it's such a distraction. I can't stand
Yeah.
it. It's the essence of life and business. So I
Yeah.
do similar things as well, where I will check my emails like
Yeah.
morning to see anything that came through tonight, and then I check
Yeah.
them in the afternoon. But during the heart of the day, I don't even look at them, because if it's that
Yeah.
important to be calling my office or calling me or sending me text
Yeah.
messages, emails can
Yeah.
wait. In this world of
Yeah.
instant gratification, and like in the past,
Yes.
you go back 10 years ago or 15 years ago, if somebody sent you an email, if you got back to them within 3 days, that was okay. Now it's,
Yeah.
I emailed you an hour ago. Why haven't you gotten
And why
back?
didn't you respond? So what do
Sorry,
you mean?
life,
Yeah.
dude. Of course,
Yeah.
like,
Like for me, all my notifications, everything is off. So somebody will say, I sent a WhatsApp to another medium. They say, I sent you a WhatsApp 2 days ago. I'm so sorry. Because I figured I'll go to it when I can and then I'll review everything, respond properly for everything. And obviously, when there's something urgent, you get a call anyways, like you mentioned. It's that the art of keeping the distractions away so you can focus on one thing at a time, right? To just bring that focus energy in what you're doing is very important. So,
oh yeah, and because it's so easy to be distracted, and most entrepreneurs, they already have, a high level of ADHD, right? We're always
yeah,
very easily distracted. And so
yeah,
with notifications and social media, it's overwhelming. Like, I only check my LinkedIn like maybe once a week. And people say, hey, I messaged you last week. I was like, that's cool. I only check it once a week. So if I missed it, sorry, I missed it. We get so many inquiries.
yeah. No, definitely. Obviously, entrepreneurs want to scale. That's one of the major things, but they often feel stuck. It could be even at $1 million, they could be still feel stuck because they want to go to 20 million. So there's always that feeling of stuck that continues with an entrepreneur.
Right.
From your experience, and you shared some, but what would be your go-to mindset shift or say a financial habit that most entrepreneurs overlook, but they're extremely important for the health of their finances?
The number one thing is investing in yourself, because a lot of
Yes.
people in entrepreneurship, they'll spend all kinds of money on lead systems or other marketing sources, which are important. But until you can invest, if you invest in yourself, nobody can take that away from you, right? You're 100%
Yeah, that's it.
so I always tell young entrepreneurs, like, look, invest in yourself. Mindset building is incredibly important,
Yes.
because that is going to drive you to the next level. And
Mhm.
once you have that established, you have a good solid mindset, and then you can actually save some money aside for taxes, for emergencies, and you have enough cash flow. Then the next step for you is delegation, which is probably one of the hardest things to do as an entrepreneur, because you can't do everything. And that's the problem that we had for a long time, until we started hiring on people and building partnerships to offload a lot of these tasks. And once you start to delegate, then you have a system that you put into place, and then that system can run with you. In our opinion, the true definition of a business, like in the financial services, is that the practice can run without you being there. And that's one of our goals this year, is try to get that level of achievement, because it's easy as an entrepreneur, depending on the business type, that if you go on vacation for 2 weeks, everything falls apart, right? And
Yeah.
that's not a business, that's a job, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
But
exactly.
so in my opinion, it's building the mindset and then putting enough money away for emergencies, paying the bills off, and then also for taxes, and then start taking the additional revenues and cash flow, running as lean as possible, and start investing in delegation, which creates duplication.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's hear the wisdom in you, but it's mostly, I feel like there's a lot of experience that I want to get from you, and we just have 20, 30 minutes. So I want to get so much right, because what I'm sensing from you is a lot of experienced based knowledge, if that makes sense. Right. So I'm just trying to get that out for the people. And sometimes when you push, when you force, it negates, it makes it worse. But I think, how about this? Can you share a unconventional strategy
Yeah.
that you lived throughout your history, from your experience, from your journey, that go-to strategy that not a lot of people know about, but has helped you and your clients, if you could share?
I guess like the best way I can relate that for your
Yeah.
audience to be most applicable in the entrepreneurial space is to basically have no plan B. And I've done this multiple times, and I've done that through building my mindset with it. But what I mean by that,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the old Spanish story of burning the ships at the shore, right? Like you're going to
Yes.
make this
Yeah.
happen or everything's going to fail, basically.
Yeah.
And put your back up against the wall. You'll be amazed on what you can accomplish. Now, this has to be balanced, because not everyone is
Yeah.
wired to do that. You have to
It's
be
mindset.
to know yourself well enough to be.
Mhm.
It is 100%. And I'll give you a
Yeah.
prime
Yeah.
example. I moved from Southern California to Texas in 2018. When I moved here, I had zero marketing established, nothing. And I sell life insurance, long-term care, and annuities. And so my
Yeah.
entire market base, all my referral network was in California. And in this practice, you usually need to meet with people. It's not like sales over the phone per se. And so I came out here with absolutely nothing. And I was like, wow, okay, moved out here, spent pretty much all the money to get out here. Now, how am I going to make this happen? And so what I did is I got a business credit card, the American way, through credit. And it
Yeah.
was zero interest. And I took out every single
Yeah.
business credit
You
card.
give
and
those out
I
too. Yeah.
Yep, I invested in myself, and then we made it happen and turned it into a multi-seven-figure business in just a few years.
Love it.
But
Love it.
I did that because I knew I could accomplish it. I put my back up against the wall.
Yeah.
Now, I had a family at the time. I had a mortgage. I had one kid. Now I have three. I had all these responsibilities that were all weighing on me. But
Yeah.
I ended up making it happen. That's one big thing that's unconventional is, look, if you're strapped, but you're confident in the process, it can work out. Take on
Yeah.
debt. It's kind of
Yeah.
unconventional compared to like, a Ramsey model or something, but it can help you and it can work. And I always caution people, I'm not giving you financial advice on that. You have to weigh it out
Yeah.
yourself, but it is an opportunity to really grow it. And so that's something
Yeah.
that's taboo, but it does work.
No, it's so true. It's
And another thing I'll add to that is I would put myself in these crazy mindsets. Speaking of mindset, and if you ask the entrepreneur, I was okay, say if you could not see your wife and your kids for 10 years, unless you generated $10,000 in revenue the next 30 days, do you think you can make that happen? People be like,
put
yeah, I can
yourself
make
in
that
the
happen.
spot.
You'd,
Mhm.
yeah, anything you could. It was like this weird sick demented mindset. That's what I put myself in multiple times because I had to get out of this situation. And I knew it was like, if somebody had a gun to my head and they said, I'm going to shoot you unless you actually get 10 policies on the books in 30 days. I got 10 policies on the books. If your life depended on it, could you do it? And make sure that it's realistic, right? I'm not saying I can,
Yeah.
become an NBA player or anything. Make sure it's realistic
Yeah.
and applicable to your business. And that
No,
comes
no,
down
definitely.
to our of mindset. And so some people aren't wired to do that. But if you are, you'd be amazed what you can accomplish.
Mhm. And back to the other point that you made is about the belief, because it really does come down to the subconscious belief. Consciously, we have all sorts of beliefs, and that may not take us to where we need to go. But that subconscious belief it requires programming. It requires some time if we don't have it naturally. But when we create that image of who we feel we are in the subconscious level, then action becomes true is like wisdom. So the action that you're taking is like expressing your wisdom and through the action into the universe. So you're pushing it out, and
You are.
the more you do it, the better it is for you and others. Because no matter what, even if you're pushing, you are giving value to people in some way or form because of that positive energy you're sending out.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of people think it's hocus pocus, but it really isn't. Prove it.
They used to.
They used
But I feel since COVID has shifted. I've never seen so many entrepreneurs speak about their inner world than they do now since COVID. Before that, it was just woo-woo. Now the scientists are jumping up. Now the quantum physicists are coming out. They're doing tons and tons of research on DNA and how our emotions affect DNA, even if it's not with us. And there's just phenomenal. I love this stuff because this is my world. I study. This is what I do. This is my passion. And I feel that the more we become knowledgeable about it, the more life becomes easier. It's like a whole journey is already planned out for us. All we need to do is create a foundation of faith, belief, gratitude, and everything will fall into place if we remain in that energy long enough. So.
Yeah, and the big thing is to your point is to when you're envisioning these things, you have to have the emotional feeling as if you already have it. That's the big thing.
Yes.
Why you're just
But we're gonna be best friends.
Yeah, totally, man. There's a comment I tell people too that are new to this. I go, you probably have wanted to buy a new car at some point or a new truck, and you probably had that ideal truck in. What it does is it activates your reticulating activator in your brain.
Yeah.
You'll start seeing, oh, there's a new truck. There's that. That's
exactly.
Were they all there before? Who knows? It's just the reality of thinking of something. And Neville Goddard talks about the ladder of where envisioning this ladder and you climbing up the ladder, and you do that for like a few days.
Have you tried it?
Not the ladder effect specifically, but I will give you a real life story here of envisioning. So when we moved to Texas in 2018, it was not our forever home, but I wanted to have this house. I always envisioned this house of a big giant front door. And then you walk in and it's a huge living room, and then it's all sliding glass door, and it looks over into a backyard that has a downward slope, and it has a pool and a little pool cabana. I thought about that, and I used to remember myself smelling what the house would smell like, hearing my boots on the floor, jumping in the pool, everything. And so the timing came, took about 6 years. The timing came, I said, okay, let's look for another house. We found this house, and it was unbelievable. And it had 10 appointments on it the first day, which in this marketplace is rare. And we walked in the house, and I was like, we're going to get it. And then the realtor was like, I'm not sure. There's multiple offers and this and that and the other. I said, no, this is the house. It was scary. It was exactly how I envisioned it. Like, it just tripped me out. I was like, this is what I had in my ears. And then we ended up closing on the house. They took our offer over a higher bid offer because they wanted to sell it.
It happens all the time, this stuff.
Dude, it does. And then the hard part is once you achieve that, then you think, okay, what's the next thing I want to start envisioning? And then if you don't work on it, you'll get distracted, and then you won't try to envision anything. Then you have to keep constantly doing that. But that was the biggest affirmation of something coming to fruition from thinking about it and feeling that we already had it. Like, I had the feeling that we already had it. And then when you walk in the door of the other house, you're like, oh, dang, I don't have it yet. But then you're like, no, I have it. This is just a rental house. And I was like tricking my mind all the time. And it came to fruition. My wife
is crazy. I love this stuff because initially when it does happen, there's so many things. And the more I elevate my internal world, the more I focus on my internal world, the more the dots start connecting. Just Steve Jobs famously said he was a follower of this information as well. So he would say that you can't connect the dots looking for it. You just have to have faith, meaning you got to zoom out and just have faith in overall the good and bad. Just let it happen. Live from inside out, not outside in. And then over time, when you get to a place you don't even know how you got, and you'll look back and you connect it as, oh my God, I can't believe. And there's so many different things that happen on a regular basis to our life that surprise us. Initially, when this starts happening, we don't realize it happens to people, but they don't realize. They just coincidence. They don't realize. But when something like that happens, Some people get scared. Some people say, okay, no, this can't be true. And they stay away from it, or unfortunately. And then some say, okay, yeah, there's something here, but no, it's just they write it off. And then others say, okay, wait a minute, there's something really, truly here. I need to go all in. And they devote their life to it, like myself, and then helping others, because this is foundationally, that's all you really need, is that internal world, and everything else will just connect itself. And it's hard to believe, but that's like the resisting nothing, right? Like you're not resisting and you're just flowing. The flow state produces much better results. And you'll see this with someone that is in a flow state, someone who's not. You will see the difference in their life and their quality from outside, right?
100%. Yeah. I mean, that we live by that model, and it's hard to stay consistent with it. The world beats you up. There's challenges.
Yeah.
Stacks of mail you got to go through. It's everything goes wrong. That's all part of life. And the way I always look at it, the one thing we all have equal is time, right? So I look at some of the other very successful entrepreneurs. I'm like, well, if they could do it, we both have the same 24 hours in a day. How are they doing it better than I am? And that's part of the journey of learning how to do it. And it's a balance. You want to compare yourself, but also connect with other people.
Yeah, it's definitely an ongoing battle. But anything, right, in life, when you start working out in the beginning, you don't know what the heck you're doing. You're just pushing weight and you're injuring yourself. You're doing things wrong. You just don't know. Same way with this internal world, it's an art, because when you start spending time internally, and the more you do it and the more you're paying attention, you're aware of each moment, the present moment, you're aware of it, and you start becoming an expert in the present moment. You're allowing things to unfold in your awareness on every moment. And you start automatically, it's like something is helping you start detaching. And this, when you detach, it doesn't mean that you're depressed. You're actually really excited because you feel transcendence to all these things. If you start feeling petty in a way. So it's just like anything else, how you teach people the financial stuff. Same way, you can actually teach someone and they can learn this art to be internally, to have that mental toughness where the outside does not affect them. It is, I'm telling you, it's possible because I'm living it, but it's something that is incredibly powerful when you get to that state that needs a consistent investment of your energy into that. Your belief has to be so big on it. Okay, this is my answer. This is it. And that, unfortunately, because people are conditioned from outside in, they won't be able to look at it. But if they do and they devote it, there's nothing like it. Once you bring heaven on earth, then really what is left? You're not doing things for others anymore. You're doing it just because you feel good.
Yeah, 100%. That's what the constant battle is. But that's what life's all about, is becoming a better
the ups and downs.
Better mindset. If you have a solid mindset, you can do anything. And then people want to,
I love it.
Start attracting other people that have the similar mindset, and then you start having a much better life.
Yeah. So say, for example, now let's look at the profession, because you are the top 1% in US. What kind of advice or what strategies can you give an entrepreneur that may be listening to bring some of that focus into the financial world? Because let's face it, we might think that what we're doing is correct. Is there something that they could do without having to spend a lot of time, but something they could do that they could audit themselves on a high level, how you would if you met someone and had a short communication with them? You could audit to see where they are. What could they do to see the health of where they are and to also expedite where they need to go? What actions could they take immediately?
Yeah, so if they're like a newer entrepreneur or even experienced one of the number one things to look at is, number one, do a time audit. Where are you spending most of your time? And then secondly, on the actual financial side, right? On the actual, I think that's your main question, the actual financial side. You want to be sure that you have enough emergency funds put aside just in case. And it happens to us all the time. There's always going to be slow seasons and then busy seasons. And so most of the entrepreneurs we work with, they're like pedal to the metal, and I'm all about putting your back against the wall. But when those times are good and you have that replenishment of cash flow, you need to be able to put aside just for those rainy days, even though you might not get as high as return on it, but keep it 100% safe, 100% liquid and accessible. Once you have that base built up and you can survive as a business for up to 6 months minimum, if no more cash flow came in, you're in a phenomenal situation that most practices are not in. Once you've achieved that, then you start investing more into the long-term perspective of the business. Okay. Like personal finances, investing in the markets, putting money away into like self-funded pension plans and so forth. But during that process, what the number one thing is that most people miss out on is protection. So, for example, there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that have virtually zero life insurance. They don't have any disability insurance. Nobody wants to pay an insurance bill. I get it. But at the same time, if something were to happen to you, what would happen in practice? How would your family be affected? A lot of people say, no, I'm fine. I'm healthy. That's okay. What happens if somebody runs a light and kills you? Like, you don't know. I've been in this business 15 years. I've processed a numerous amount of death claims. And the majority of the death claims, the surviving spouse always says, I'm so glad I met you and you helped us get this policy. And it's a very rewarding feeling. So whether you get it through us or somebody local, if you have a friend, just go out there and get some basic coverage. Even if it's inexpensive term life or short-term disability, just get some level of coverage because you just don't know what's going to happen. If you were to ask the majority of people if they could come back from the grave, right? And if they're, I don't know if they're 90, but if you could ask the majority of people, did you think you were going to die right there? Or you ask all the people that are currently disabled, do you think you were going to be disabled? No, they're going to say, no, I had no idea. But that's why you have to have it. So before you start investing, you need to have a solid foundation. You need to have an emergency fund. You need to have all the insurances covered just in case something happens to you. So that would be my number one piece of advice. I have people that come back. They say, set up a 401k plan for us and do all this. I'm like, no, you don't have enough money. You need to put those dollars towards protecting what you're building. Because if you don't, it'll fall away. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. I appreciate your time today, my friend. It was great speaking to you. Yeah, definitely keep in touch. When we go live, we'll send you an email with everything, all the information for this episode. I wish you all the growth, success. Keep your focus on the internal world. And if there's any way we can help, let us know.
Cool. I appreciate that. Same here, brother.